What is going on, guys? Gamers Goon back here today on Sunday. I know I said I was going to try to get a video out Saturday. Fortunately, was not able to. Figured I'd do it Sunday morning. There'll be a video later tonight with the remaining group that needs to go here in the Combine. But the last few days, there's been some fireworks. And then there's also been some letdowns. I mean, this video is not going to go into too much depth about letdowns. Isaiah Bond did not hit that 4.2 he was talking about that he could. Tez Johnson, we expected to run in the 4.3s, ran in the 4.5s. So you for those two guys, you're probably looking, hey, let's look toward the pro day. And then you got a lot of guys that came in and helped their draft stock. I'm going to start in with the tight ends of the group, though. The tight ends that I have listed. Harold Fannin did leave that door open on the tight end 3. Didn't have the best of combines. So you saw two guys here in that tight end group, in my opinion, as guys that stood out. Terrence Ferguson, athletically, was probably all around the best tight end there. And then you also look at Mason Taylor, who his field drills looked pretty darn smooth as a tight end 3 potentially in this class. Obviously Warren, Loveland, the two top guys you'd expect. But Terrence Ferguson, Mason Taylor both making a case there to be the third tight end off the board. So I think both of those guys can walk away from the combine saying, hey, I did all I could. We're some of the winners of the combine at that tight end position. Those two right there are the guys that I think if anybody was able to separate themselves in that tight end class, it was them. Now, that's not to say, like for Terrence Ferguson and Mason Taylor, say they were 5th or 6th on somebody's board at the tight end class, right? I'm not saying that they're necessarily a lock for top 3 in the tight ends. I'm just saying they are the ones with the most movement up the board. So Terrence Ferguson, say he was your 6th tight end, maybe now he's 4th. That's pretty much what I'm getting at with saying that they help boost their stock a little bit here at the combine. And then we'll go to the safety. We're just doing one safety. We'll do 2 corners, 1 safety. And everybody should know who we're talking about when it comes to the safeties. And that is Nick Emmanwori, South Carolina. We talked about it beforehand. Somebody was going to separate themselves in that safety class, probably at that safety 3. Obviously, you got Malachi Starks, Kelvin Winston. Both of those guys performed at the comp. I know Malachi Starks did. I think Kelvin Winston played or participated in the combine. I don't fully remember if he did. It's been 2 days. But Nick Emmanwori, all the athletics add up. The fastest of the safeties, big time. I think he lifted the most, could jump. His drills look good. Nick Emmanwori really helped his case here at the combine. So much so that I think this could be somebody that might be the first safety off the board. Now, obviously, everybody's like, Malachi Starks was that guy, right? That's how good of a combine Nick Emmanwori had. Pretty impressive stuff. All the athletics check out. Pretty good player at South Carolina. If you're looking for a safety that might have elite potential, Nick Emmanwori might be your guy. So watch out for Nick Emmanwori to fly up draft boards. I think it is very, very likely for him to do so. And then we got the 2 corners. We got the fastest corner. And another corner that, from my understanding, has had some pretty good interviews, helped his case there, and then his field work backed it up. His athletic scores backed it up. We'll start out with that guy, Jahdae Brown out of Texas. Somebody that wasn't really super high on my radar as a guy that could come in and fly up boards, but he is a guy that came in to the combine, treated it like a job interview, put his best foot forward, and we're looking at Jahdae Brown as potentially one of the top 3, top 4 corners off the board, maybe even probably not above Will Johnson. And then whatever you classify Travis Hunter as, corner, receiver, he might be the second off the board. That is a great time at the combine for Jahdae Brown. And then you got Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky, somebody that we talked about a little bit, slid down the boards. At one point, he was supposed to be one of the top corners in this class. He dropped maybe to like corner 6, 7, maybe 8 even. And now he's finding his path back into that top 5. Fastest 40, looked pretty good in the field drills. Out of Kentucky, he was somebody that I'd be okay drafting with the Bears in maybe in like that second, third round. But he's a guy that might have done enough here at the combine to not allow that to happen. He'll be one of those corners that you can stick on some of the faster players in the league. So that will help him receive a boost and some draft stock there. And then we only have one receiver and one running back. And I know Tootin might be the guy for a lot of people and saying, oh, he's one of the draft winners out of the running backs. I understand that. Tootin, however, to me, is not a guy that's going to fly up boards rapidly to the point of securing a top day 2 spot, right? However, I was impressed with Omarion Hampton. He did enough to prove to me that he is clearly the second best running back in this class. Now, you look at some of the guys that didn't participate. I thought Judkins had a pretty good combine, even though I just said he didn't. Judkins participated. Cam Skattebo did not participate in all the events. He participated in some. I think he really hurted his draft stock doing that, so you're looking for a pro day there. But Omarion Hampton, pretty much as advertised here. Pretty much as advertised. I was hoping he'd run somewhere in the mid 4.4s. That's what he did. Omarion Hampton, just one of those running backs that I think everybody was looking towards as, hey, this is probably the second best running back. I think he did enough here to prove to me, hey, he's the second best running back. He will be the second best, or the second guy off the board. Now you might be like, well, Tootin might have had a better combine. Yeah, he probably did. But the way I classified Omarion Hampton as a winner here is we were looking at who would be that second tier of running back behind Jeanty. I think Omarion Hampton has now locked it up there as being the next guy behind Jeanty. So, I mean, there's a lot of talent there. Trevion Henderson looks pretty solid. Obviously, I said Judkins already. There's just a lot of running backs in this year's class. So, all these guys I could see going being impact players. It's been a deep class. It's a class that I've kind of talked about a little bit with people in my circle, right? Where I'm like, hey, I know a lot of Bears fans are pushing this idea, and I know it's floated around there. Hey, Jeanty to the Bears if you fix up the offensive line and free agency. I get that. I completely get that. Having Ashton Jeanty on the team would be fun. It'd be exciting. But I think that the depth at running back, I just would not pay the price for Ashton Jeanty with some of the quality you have later down the road. So you might be able to pass on Jeanty and get a top-tier offensive lineman or a top-tier defensive lineman, and you might be able to get somebody who obviously won't be Jeanty, but it's a pretty good number 2, like an Omarion Hampton in the second, third round, whatever. Omarion Hampton probably fitting in that second round range. Might squeeze his way into the first, but I'd expect maybe that second round range for Omarion Hampton. And then the receivers, the one and this I'm gonna start it off here. A Texas receiver is the standout, but it's not the one that thought they were going to beat Xavier Worthy. It's not Isaiah Bond. It's Matthew Golden, a fast 40. I think he ran in the 4.28 range, maybe 4.29. He was in the 4.2s though. He was in the 4.2s, and once again, deep receiver class. We're looking at who could fly up boards. We're talking about guys that could potentially run some burner speed to fly up the board, maybe be the next Xavier Worthy. We saw Xavier Worthy work out pretty well And then obviously there's guys that just don't work out with speed, that don't transition well into the NFL. But I think Matthew Golden is one that will. I'm not saying he's going to go be the next Justin Jefferson or anything, but I don't see anything in the cards that would suggest that Matthew Golden couldn't go be the next Jameson Williams. I don't see anything in the cards that says he can't replicate what Xavier Worthy did with the Chiefs. Matthew Golden and that Texas receiving room in general, a pretty good receiving room. Bond, Golden, even their running back, pretty good at receiving. Blue. I'd be okay taking those guys. Those are all guys that couldn't really separate themselves based off tape. But if you come, you test well, those are guys that fly up boards. And Matthew Golden is one that I think will fly up boards. Anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know down below who you thought won in the first 2 days, or well, I guess day 2 and 3 of the Combine. And we will have a video later tonight as well.